Hi, my name is George. Welcome to my channel. So, the reason I'm making this video today is because I got here with me well, I guess you could say it used to be a made in Mexico Player Series Fender Stratocaster. Now, the reason I say used to be is because I had some work done to it, and well, the main thing is I had these pickups swapped. Not that there's anything wrong with the Player Series pickups. They're Alnico 5. They sound great. I actually put them in a different guitar just so they wouldn't go to waste. But you know, I got my hands on a Gibson Les Paul, you know, straight out of a traditional ProV. I'm not sure if it's ProV or Pro 5, but whatever it is, a Tradbucker, a PAF. So you know, I got my hands on that. You know, I kind of wanted to put it in this guitar, obviously. So well, basically, you can have two conflicting ideologies that you believe in both equally. So let me give you an example. I like the idea of a nice guitar collection. You know, when I see all these famous people playing all their guitars, you know, it's cool. Especially, you know, you see Kingfish, you know, every other show he's got a different guitar, you know, it's cool. But one thing I like just as much, if not more than that, is having only one guitar. You know, you see what I'm saying? Both ideologies, they conflict, but I believe in both equally. And I actually might like the idea of having one guitar even more than having a nice collection. And you know, just one guitar. You take to the studio, you play live, you know, you practice, you play around. That's the only guitar you use for the most part. Now, one of the biggest reasons a guitar player would be inclined to get more than one electric guitar will come down to the sounds of a single coil versus that of a humbucker. And normally you have to choose. You can't really have both for the most part. Now the reason I got an HSH, you know, humbucker, single humbucker, you know, it used to be a SSH or an HSS. But the reason I got a you know, two humbuckers, because I didn't want to compromise. You know, I wanted the sound of a humbucker, and I also wanted the sound of a single coil. Now, I haven't done it yet, but what I'm going to do eventually is I'm going to split these coils to these humbuckers with a resistor. So I'm going to get that single coil sound as well as a humbucker sound, and only one guitar. And if you ask me, that's pretty much the ultimate guitar right there. So let me go over these pickups I got. Now this here is this one here in the middle is a Fender vintage noiseless single coil. I think it runs at about 7K. This one here, like I said, was out of the traditional ProV, Gibson Les Paul, straight out of a Gibson Les Paul, you know. This one here is a Seymour Duncan Jason Becker Perpetual burn pickup. Now the reason I got that one is because I wanted a high output Alnico 5 pickup. And they're kind of hard to find. For the most part, there's not a whole lot of them out there, regardless of the brand you get them from. So I was kind of lucky to just stumble across this one, because this was after days of looking. You know, I was pretty much ready to give up at this point, and I just happened to stumble across it. You know, I got lucky. Well, the reason this video is called 3 Levels of Distortion, because with this 3-way switch here, you know, like I said, you get, I'm not sure if I said it already or not, but you get one pickup per position. So the middle, just the middle. The left, just the neck. The right, that's just the bridge. So I don't have any positions on this switch that are multiple pickups active at once. Not 2, not 3. Just one. You know, and I'd like to change that. I'd like to, you know, maybe one of these days get a 7-way switch. But that just depends on if the people in my area know how to do it or not, or if they offer services like that. If they do, I'm probably definitely going to go down that route, at least eventually. So yeah, that's the reason I did all this work to this guitar, was because I wanted one guitar to really do it all. So let me demonstrate the sound quality of these new pickups. Now here is the single coil vintage Noiseless. Now, even though it's a single coil, it's a noiseless pickup. And noiseless pickups are generally somewhere in between that of a single coil and a humbucker. Not necessarily right in the middle, but about a third, about a third of the way. And well, this vintage one, the vintage Noiseless, is probably the best, the closest, I should say, to the authentic single coil sound you're looking for. But it's still not 100%. So I do, I dial back on this tone knob when I play the single coil. And you pretty much have to. Now let me demonstrate. Here's what it sounds like with the tone knob all the way up. It's a little bit too punchy, for a single coil at least. If you're looking for that single coil sound, that glassy clean, distinct staple of a sound, I like to cut it all the way back, or go all the way back with the knob and go forward just a hair, and that'll probably give you just enough juice. To me, that's perfect. Now, I'm no virtuoso. I don't know a whole lot of licks or a whole lot of riffs, any of that kind of stuff. I'm not here to demonstrate my ability to play guitar right now. I'm just trying to showcase the sound quality of these pickups I got. So I'm probably just going to play the same thing over and over again. just forewarning you. But yeah, this is the sound of the single coil, the Fender Noiseless. Oh yeah, keep in mind I'm doing this on a Fender Mustang GTX 100 amplifier, and I got it on a custom preset, and there's no pedals or anything. It's just an amp. It's a 57 Bandmaster, so it's fairly clean. I don't have the gain up too high. I mean, it's probably like 7.5. So that's what the single coil sounds like. That's level 1. Now here's what the Gibson Les Paul pickup sounds like. Now obviously you can hear it, the difference. It's quite a bit more punchy, quite a bit more powerful. And when I say powerful, I don't mean objectively better. You know what I'm saying? I just mean different. It's heavier. That's like, cookies and brownies, I mean, some people might have a preference, but there's no objectively better than one or the other. And that's how Humbucker single coils is, They both have a distinct sound. So you can have a single coil and turn the gain up real high on your amp and get some distortion pedals. And you can have a humbucker and turn down the gain, and you turn down your tone knob, but you're never really going to get a single coil sound out of a humbucker, and you're never going to get a humbucker sound out of a single coil. You can get close, but for the most part, you'll always be able to tell the difference. I mean, I can't say this with every song I ever heard, but a lot of the times I can tell just by the sound of the guitar if they're using a humbucker or a single coil. And I'm sure you might be in the same boat, you just don't even know you are yet. But part of you, whether you're actively aware of it or subconsciously aware, you could probably feel the difference, or at least, somewhat hear the difference between versus. You gonna have to cut that out.
Well, what?
Level 1. Level 2. Now finally, here's that Perpetual Burn Seymour Duncan pickup. Stop it. You're gonna have to stop. So I'll just demonstrate some other sounds. So I guess I'll demonstrate some power chords. Level 1, you know, level 1 distortion. Single coil. Now I'd say this is the single coil sound because I've compromised by turning the tone knob down. Now if this was an authentic single coil, you would be able to hear it. So I had to turn the tone knob down to just get a single coil sound out of a noiseless pickup. Level 1. Level 2, Gibson Les Paul pickup. Level 3, Seymour Duncan. My bad, I had the tone knob turned down for the single coil. So let's try that again. Level 2. Level 1. Gotta turn down that tone knob. But yeah, like, I guess the whole reason I'm making this video is because I got these pickups swapped and I just kind of wanted to show off the new guitar. I guess you could call it a new guitar. It's got a new soul in it. Man, before it had a plain black pickguard, an HSH pickguard. Now it's, you know, shiny green pearloid. I'd say it matches the green body fairly well. It looks nice if you ask me. And I especially, if I'm going to get this thing coil split to where it can do both, it can do a humbucker sound or it can do a single coil sound. I love the fact that these humbuckers are zebras, you know, because it makes it look, you know, from a distance you'll be fooled. You'll think, oh, that's a 3 single coil Strat, like every other Strat you've ever seen. You look closely, you realize, oh, it's a humbucker. And it's not one or the other, it's both. At least it will be by the time I coil split these with the resistor. So that's basically all there is to it. Guess I'll show you one last time how these pickups sound. Here's the single coil. Here's the Gibson Les Paul. And here is... Stop it, Rallo. Stop it. Stop it. I'm trying to make a video. So here's the Gibson Les Paul. Oh, my bad. That was a Seymour Duncan. So level 3. Level 2. Level 1. that's most of the work that I want done. You know, by the time it's said and done, okay, so, you know, you could buy a whole bunch of guitars, right? That's one way to spend your money. Or you could, if you're going to spend money on guitars, you could just keep investing in one guitar and upgrading it until it becomes the best guitar you could possibly afford. Or not even afford, you know, because you bought this over... Stop it! You're pissing me off! Alright, well, anyways... Man, I'm pissed off now. Anyways... I don't even know what I was talking about. I'm gonna post this video anyways, I don't give a shit. It's your problem I don't know what I was talking about. It's not mine, I don't care. So yeah, pretty much got most of the major upgrades I want done. The most important thing was getting these pickups swapped. But obviously that's not the end. I'd like to be able to coil split these pickups with the resistor. And mostly that comes down to, obviously you don't want to split it right in half because that's too much output lost. But not only that, you reintroduce 60 cycle hum if you do that. But with the resistor, both sides of the humbucker are still at least a little active, which means you cancel out that 60 cycle hum. There is no 60 cycle hum. And that's why I got a noiseless pickup. You know, I didn't want any 60 cycle hum in this guitar at all. Even if I do the single coil sound. So yeah, that's one thing I'd like to do is split these coils with the resistor. And I'd like to get a 7-way switch. You might think, oh, right now, a Gibson Les Paul has no advantage over my guitar. But in reality, one of the most distinct sounds of the Les Paul is the middle position, where both the bridge and the neck pickups are active simultaneously. And right now I can't do that with a 3-way switch. With a 7-way switch I'd be able to do it. Not even with a 5-way, but with a 7-way I'd be able to do it. And I'd also be able to have all 3 active at once. So that's the plan, really. As long as I can find somebody who can do it. And then maybe, who knows, one day, I don't know, just for the hell of it, I'll upgrade this thing to an American neck. You know, a roasted maple Fender American neck. And I know it already comes with a bone nut, but I'd like to replace the frets on them, you know, get some stainless steel frets. That way, you know, the guitar will last a lifetime. Several lifetimes. You pass it down to your grandkids, and they can pass it down to their grandkids. You know, that kind of shit. I already got some locking tuners, some Fender button style staggered locking tuners, pretty good tuners, and I got not sure if you can see it on the camera there, but I got an American string tree. You know, it's slightly more aesthetically pleasing, arguably. opinionatively. kind of like a crying baby, you know. You just don't pay it any attention. It'll shut up eventually. And if it doesn't, you just like it less. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's what it gets. Yeah, I pretty much got nothing more to say. Like I said, I like these pickups a lot. They're good pickups. It's a good guitar, you know. These made in Mexico Fender Player Series, they're pretty good guitars, you know. They're somewhat affordable. They're getting more expensive, but they're still, you know, kind of treading that line. Now, once they become over $1,000, like those Player Plus models, that's kind of where I draw the line, because at that point, you know, you're getting kind of close to American. I think the Performer, it's called the Performer series. I think they're like $1,300 or $1,400. So at that point, you might as well pay a little more and get a Made in America guitar. But for $600 or $700, maybe up to $800, it definitely makes sense to go with the Made in Mexico. And there's not a whole lot of differences, to be honest. I mean, the biggest giveaway that it's a Made in Mexico guitar versus an American made one is just this if you look here, not sure if you can see it on the camera there, but right here, this truss rod, the enclosure is made out of a black plastic on this Made in Mexico model, whereas on the American models they're made out of wood, a different wood, not just plain maple, you know. It's like a dark brown wood, I'm not sure what wood. But it looks better, you know. There's no arguing that. But is it $1,000 better? Probably not. And that's really one of the only dead giveaways. For the most part, you could, you know, blindfold test somebody, even somebody who has experience, you know, playing these different types of guitars. And I think, you know, I mean, it could just be me, but I firmly believe that they probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between an American one and a Made in Mexico one. Or maybe you compare this to a custom shop $4,000, $5,000 guitar with a, you know, custom neck profile. Yeah, it might not still hold the candle to it, but look at the price difference. I would say the American Fender models, not the custom shop ones, are closer in quality to a Made in Mexico Fender than it is a custom shop Fender. Now prove me wrong. If you upload a video, you know, in response to this, telling me why I'm wrong with some evidence, then I'll gladly admit that I'm wrong. But I'll have to see the video first. So yeah, obviously I don't get sponsored by Fender or anything. I just like the guitar. I think it's a good guitar. I'm not telling you to go buy it. You know, get whatever guitar you want. But I do like the idea, if you're one of those who just wants one guitar, maybe because they can't afford a big collection, or maybe they just are like me and they just like the idea of it, having one power horse doing it all, then I do recommend you go with an HSH, you know, humbucker, single humbucker, and you coil split them. And I recommend using resistors, because that way you can have both. You don't have to settle You don't have to go one route or the other. You know, are you going down the single coil route or are you going down the humbucker route? You can have both if you do it right. Now, there are people out there who are not the biggest fans of split coils, but I'm not one of them. In my experience, they're not it's obviously not 100% match. It's not 100% single coil sounding, but it's pretty close. It's definitely a noticeable drop off, put it that way, when you split the coil. Now, to be honest, if I'm just being 100% honest with you, you still might need to turn down the tone knob a little bit when you split the coil. It's just the way it is, you know. But you can still get that single coil sound. So obviously this video is unfocused. Now if you're still watching it, it's your fault at this point. Rah, 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 rah. Adios.